Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of the TNT podcast, also known as the Sunday Night Shit Show or Sunday Night Special, if you will. I know we haven't done one of these in a while, so I thought, you know what? I got a little bit of time here. There's a few things to talk about. We do have our very special 20th episode edition coming up later this week, which Tuna's very excited for. He told me he was going to shave the number 20 in the side of his head, but then I realized he doesn't have any hair. So it looks like Sam will be taking on that duty.
Fair.
Nice. We'll outline it in there. Some flames on the other side.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so welcome back. If you're new to the channel, you're new to our podcast, we try to talk about tech and all kinds of strange and wonderful things sometimes. But we are all big fans of tech and technology, and especially smartphones. Smartphones tend to be a lot of our conversational topics, but not just smartphones, because, you know, there is other tech out there. Tuna has many a sex toy that is powered by batteries and USBs and Bluetooth. So,
yeah, the apps are a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just pictures. It's pictures like IKEA instructions, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so let's kick things off. So literally lighting up Twitter, maybe some enthusiasts' email inboxes this week is the Nothing Phone 2. So I know we talked a little bit about Carl Pay in the past here on this channel and on this podcast, but Nothing Phone 2 is officially launched. It's out in the world. It's out in the masses. Kind of interesting reception. I don't know if you guys have caught any of the reviews for the Nothing Phone. Sam, have you seen any of the literature / visual stuff on the Nothing Phone?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it, but I haven't watched anybody's Nothing Phone 2 first impressions reviews or anything. Again, like I said, at $599, that now you're starting to kind of eke into the Pixel 7 and some of those other phones. I think you're kind of it's funny how ironic that Carl Pay's falling into the same trap that OnePlus fell into, right? So now you have more features, there's more glyphs, you got a better processor, and now you're starting to kind of attack
Creep the price up.
$500 to $700 price point, and I don't think that's a place you want to live. Especially in the United States, considering nobody other than tech enthusiasts would know the brand.
Dan at Grounded Tech said, I've watched nothing either. Yes.
Right.
I love the pun there. That's very good. Yes. Tuna, what about you? I know you and I had a number of conversations. I know I believe your pre-order is still active, but unless that's changed.
It has not changed. I kept it active. I think it's very complicated. It's kind of like the Fold. There's a lot of mixed reviews, and the majority say it's generally a good phone. Cameras are not flagship, which we didn't expect that, but I will say they did mention a huge. They say huge. I think it was like 100 meg update on day one. So
yes.
Most people, when they get it, if they've ordered it, will get an update, which has a bunch of fixes for the camera and some glyph stuff. I don't know. Its biggest selling point is design, and software. And I think if the software is anything like the first one, you're not going to know that's an 8 Gen 1 unless you look at it. The 8 Gen 1 Plus, the version they're using, was more efficient, a lot more efficient than the original, and had better thermals. But it's hard to sell. I mean, I don't think it compares to the Pixel, because the Pixel's more focused on AI and strictly software, where Nothing is kind of doing a mixture of both. I think their UI overlay is very interesting. But anyways, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think it was Android Authority came out today, and it was an article written by one of their writers, editors, etc., saying that they love the Nothing Phone 2 because its software is more fluid than the Pixel. And they were saying that kind of like the Pixel, as of late, has become a bit of a crap show with software, and kind of they fix one thing, another thing breaks, and just kind of with the Nothing Phone, the general experience with the Nothing Phone 1 was that a lot of what they fixed for good. And it kind of got better and better and better and better and better.
Yeah, Nothing. This is the same issue we've had with when it was Essential. Remember the phone Essential? They make one phone, and they had a small team, and they sold 500,000 of them, if that. And it's very easy to fix it. Nothing makes one phone. Okay, now two phones. Google technically makes one kind of phone, but they have different processors along different lines. They've got a folding phone now. They've got a tablet. So being able to fix one phone, it's a hell of a lot easier, and nothing is getting bigger. And I wonder if that's why they had to increase the price, because they got more people on the payroll. And because you go with the Snapdragon Plus Gen 1 last year's, you're getting a bargain for it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's part of it. I'm still interested in the phone. I think a company as small like that's why I like it, because I think the software issues will be addressed quickly.
Yes.
And it'll only get better. I'm not saying Pixels are bad phones by any means. They just have more to support than nothing does right now.
I think it's kind of interesting in this space too, because here is a phone, like you said, that's a design first phone. And I don't know about you, Sam, but when you're buying a brand new smartphone, are you buying the look or the promise?
Well, I don't. I don't buy a phone based on, they say that, software updates. I realize those are going to come regardless, right? You're going to get versions of Android. I honestly, I will tell you that my purchasing or not purchasing has actually changed quite a bit in the last year. I'm not getting a Pixel Fold. I'm not getting a nothing phone. I've got Pixel 4 XL, Flip 4, and my Duo. And I'm staying with that because it covers my flip, covers my folding-ish, and the Pixel 4 XL, hot take, I really wish the Soli radar would have been a thing. Yeah. I really hate the fact. I know I understand why Pixel got away from it, but I like it. The only thing I don't like about it is the battery life on this thing is not very great. But yeah, it's funny. We just had a chat with Eric from Easy Tech Preacher, and we're talking about other, older phones, and he makes an argument on one of his channels that's like, I think there can be both, right? The space where people get the new stuff, right? The brand new stuff, or you'll rock a phone for 3 years. Yeah. If you've got a phone, if you got it from a carrier deal, I know AT&T was offering the Pixel Fold for like $960, but it was like 3 years. But are you really going to keep that phone 3 years? And the answer is probably no. And if you're not going to keep a phone more than 6 months, why are you buying it other than to experience it, enjoy it, and then kick it off the side? But I can't not remember the last time, other than the Duo, where I kept the phone more than a year or two. And I'm not even a reviewer. I'm just a podcaster. So, for me, it's just like I'm just tired of dumping money down a bunch of these devices where really, unless the form factor or it changes, the glyphs, for me, it's pure Android and the glyphs. Yeah, that's what nothing brings to you, and I don't know if that's enough to get me into the $600 price point. I just don't.
So Sam, you're saying you're not picking Pamela Anderson, you're picking Hasselhoff.
Right. I want the Etsy Pamela Anderson is what I want.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
I want Pamela Anderson. It's a lady named Beverly Stevenson, and it's close enough.
Right. Yes. Right. Okay.
Right. That's close.
It's good. Good analogy. It's good.
Yeah.
And so, Tuna, what about you? So I know we had a discussion about, like, when we both pre-ordered. I ended up canceling mine because I was trying to get my hands on the Fold, which I'll get to. But were you buying the Pamela Anderson or were you buying the Hasselhoff? That's the question.
I don't know. I think it's just kind of going back to what Sam says. I'm one of those people that likes to try new things, and then I get it, and it's just like every other phone, except for it's got some lights in the back. The Pixel Fold. That's why I haven't bought the Pixel Fold, because I have a Samsung Fold 4, and it does everything I need, and I haven't had any issues. I don't know. I just want to try it. It's not just pure Android. It does have some overlay, but yes, it's generally dot matrix skin on top of Android. And I have seen, and I think it was MKBHD or I don't forget who it was. It is really very, very customizable. So there's a lot of customizing you can do in it. But I don't know. I'm torn. I haven't deleted it yet, or I haven't canceled it yet. I heard some people got emails saying they've already shipped. I have not got mine. I'm still interested in the Asus. So if this doesn't ship in a couple of days, I may just cancel it and wait for because here in the US, I'm not buying global ones as much anymore. I'm stuck with Sam. I have a T-Mobile SIM, but AT&T is my major carrier, and if it's whitelisted, I can't use it.
Right.
And right now, I don't even know. What was that?
I was just going to say, are they selling the Zenfone in stores, like carriers?
No, but like they won't sell nothing in stores either. But it's been certified, and they've got the backing from AT&T according to the website. So I don't know if Asus will do that. I don't know.
I can't imagine an Asus phone is going to be on AT&T's whitelist.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe
in the past they have, like the Asus Zenfone 8. I don't know if the 9 did. I want to say the 8 and the 7 did, and it had the approval. But I don't know what the cost is to do that, and I think it's got to be a money thing. AT&T is just trying to scrap money from people.
I think also with AT&T, it's they don't want you to buy. They don't want you to BYOD, right? They don't want you to bring your. They want you to buy AT&T carrier branded devices and upgrade inside the store. That's what it is. I mean,
it's funny you say that because AT&T had that deal where you can get the Pixel Fold for half off or whatever it was. So I had ordered it through not AT&T but FirstNet, which they own, and I went and canceled it. And I noticed on my bill that line that I upgraded, even though I canceled the order, still said I had a 36-month installment plan. So I called and they said, "Oh, well, that's something that's going to take 6 days to get reversed." And I'm like, "I've never had that problem before." She goes, "Well, what phone are you using that SIM in now?" I said, "A Unihertz Tank 2." And he's like, "What the hell is that? That's not certified." I go, "Yeah, it's not certified. It's working just fine." We don't like when you do that kind of stuff.
Oh,
okay.
Well, that's okay. Then I'll go ahead and cancel all my lines, and you guys can piss off, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of funny, like, you know, I know Sam, I know you've talked about this before about how if it isn't sold in stores, it's people just won't buy it, right? Like it's one of those things where out of sight, out of mind. I think, you know, I know we compare the reception of something like the Zenfone and the Nothing phone. Which one of those do you think would be received best if it was sold in a carrier store? Like, which one of those you reckon the Zenfone, eh?
Oh yeah,
it's more of a standard phone. It looks normal.
Well, also Asus is a known brand because they made boards. So people have heard of Asus before, even though I have been Nothing phones. I'm sorry, there have been Zen phones on their network before. So I think generally, and I would argue that Zenfone has the better track record in the Android space than Nothing does at this point. I mean, look what T-Mobile ran into with the OnePlus, right? I don't think they sell OnePluses in their carrier stores anymore. They with the 8, right, and the AT, you know, but then that was the end of that because they weren't pushing units again. You're only going to sell Samsungs and iPhones in carrier stores. Just please. Yeah. iPhones are going to be 60%. And Samsung's market share is 25 to 30, right? You're going to sell an occasional Moto. You might get the Razr out the door. Somebody may buy a Google Pixel 7 or a 7 Pro, maybe a Fold. But I guarantee. I mean, like I went to AT&T the other day to pick up just ask about, you know, a Pixel Fold and a Razr, right? They both sell them at AT&T in the stores. Yeah. Neither one were in the stores. I had to wait to ship it. I'm like, why did I even come in here? But I guarantee if I want an iPhone Pro Max, a 14 or a 15 or a Samsung S23, I guarantee you, if I was asking for an S23 Ultra or S23 Plus or an S23, I guarantee you she would have walked out of the back with that phone in hand and probably had, what do you want, color? You want size? Right? Yeah. That's what it is. I mean, they don't even have, you can't take a Razr out of the store.
Well, and that's what's about the Fold. Like I called around because I was like, a lot of times when you go online and order, you can pick it up in store.
Right.
So for FirstNet, you have to go to an AT&T corporate store. The closest one to me is like 45 minutes away, which is ridiculous. Right. But either way, I called and said, "Hey, if I upgrade to the Pixel Fold, you have them in stock." And the guy was like, "Pixel Fold, what's that?"
Nope.
The guy that worked there didn't even know what it was. He goes, "We have iPhone and Samsung. That's all we got."
Usually what happens is if AT&T ships it, it's usually available in the store that day. So like if you have a ship date of the 14th, usually they have a couple of units in the store and you can go pick it up. Yeah, I've found out as years have gone on that has not been the case unless it's an iPhone or a Samsung device.
Right.
I guarantee you, the first day that you can get a you can actually get a ship date for the Flip 5 and the Fold 5, I will guarantee you there will be Flip 5s and Fold 5s in AT&T's carrier stores. Guarantee you they will be for delivery.
Well,
so you can take delivery immediately.
And that's a good segue because is the Fold 5 and the Flip 5 will be different. We know the screen's going to be a little bigger, kind of like the Razor.
Did you see the renders of that fucking thing? Holy shit, is it ugly?
It looks very similar in but my thing is, I'm not a big Flip. Me and Darren had this conversation. He's more of a Flip person. I'm more of a Fold. Yeah. And I think the Fold 5, if it is what they're saying it is, besides the newer chipset and maybe some camera witchery, I don't know if it's worth the upgrade, especially for the price.
I think someone mentioned this on Twitter just this week. They were saying that they think that the Flip is what Samsung's really pushing because it's their biggest seller in foldables. It's sold more than the Fold did. So it makes me wonder if this year they're going to go push of the Flip, and then next year when they do the redesign of the Fold, push the Fold, right? And that would be a smart strategy by Samsung. I mean, it wouldn't be a silly thing to do. You know, the Flip is a very popular phone amongst preteens and, you know, people from Asia, but everyone else in the world, I don't know. Like, I mean, the Razor
and Australians apparently too.
True. Sorry. Yeah. But the Razor didn't move the needle. What did the Razor do? What has the Razor done? Have you heard of the Razor since it was released 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago? Well,
and that's the thing. It's not a main brand. I mean, Motorola's a big brand. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
I tell you right now, I could put this on my desk at work, this Razor, and no one's going to ask me two things because Samsung already had one. You know, so they're going to think, it's a Samsung.
Yes,
it's a great phone. Everyone says the battery life's terrible. Well, it's a flip phone and they're tiny batteries. They're not going to have a great. Even my Fold 4 struggles with battery now. So
I wonder if the Flip 5 will be phenomenal on battery. With that Snapchat Gen 2?
Gen 2 maybe, but it won't be fantastic. It'll be better than it was, but it won't be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm calling the day and a half to 2 days.
I don't have anything to say to that.
No, I am. I honestly think it will be because I think they're going to put a bigger battery with a better processor. And I think the design is going to remain the same. From what I've seen, besides the front screen, I think it's largely going to be the same kind of phone. But I don't know, the efficiency on every phone that I've tried this year that has that Snapdragon Gen 2, the battery life has been phenomenal.
Yeah, the only thing I like the screen, but this part drives me crazy. That gap that needs to stop. They need to get that flat. It needs to be flat.
I mean, if I had a gap in my teeth, I'd get braces, So why can't they fix it?
Oh, that's what you had a gap already.
Well, shh. No. I don't smile a whole lot. So
the corn sticks right in the middle. So I mean, that's just the problem. It's right now in the United States, especially, maybe overseas. I mean, in the UK, you can get access to Oppo and Sony phones and everything else in carrier stores. In the US and Canada, it is literally a Samsung and Apple fest. That's just what it is. And an occasional Pixel just to keep it fresh.
Well, Dan said if you don't use your phone, it'll definitely last 2 days. Which, of course, right?
Right. If you leave it on your nightstand and forget it from go to work and leave it on your nightstand, it will be there waiting for you at 80%.
That's true. That's very true.
Speaking of batteries, I don't know if you saw this story, but the European Union is officially going to require that all smartphones have replaceable batteries by 2027. It's coming back.
Love it. I love the EU.
Yeah, me too.
I will tell you this much. As an American, I can appreciate because at least those guys can get down with regulations. They're like, you know what? We're not dicking around. We're going right at it. They're like, went for the USB-C standard. They went right after you. They are. I'll give you this much credit. They are consumer focused. So to a point of being.
I'm good with most of these regulations, like the Type C or some kind of universal charging. The battery thing doesn't really affect me that much because I don't keep phones long enough. So if I'm keeping it to the point where I need to replace a battery after 2 or 3 years, I've had the phone too long. And I don't know how many people back in the day we had replaceable batteries because they die so quick. You'd have an extra battery you slap in.
LG V20 loved that phone.
Right,
but the battery, big screen.
That one was that had the one with the ticker on the top of it.
Yeah,
too?
The ticker at the top. Oh my goodness!
The V10. I will tell you that I love replaceable batteries for one reason alone. You could have them charged and in like a
backpack, like I just said.
And if you need to charge, there's nothing faster than just flipping a battery in that device.
Yeah.
I have 3 batteries for my 950 XL, and I still have them in the drawer. if I ever had a 950, I could literally take the phone out, pop the back off, throw a SIM in it, it's done, ready to go, and I'm at 100%, and I actually have a spare if I'm in the field taking pictures. I don't need to bring a battery back up. I don't need to bring a charging brick. None of that. And I don't have to wait. It's like literally, I mean, as soon as I need to throw a battery in there, boom, it's done.
But I thought the whole reason they stopped that and sealed the pullback was for dust, water, less intrusion of things. And I'm not saying it's marketing, because that may be part of it, like, saving the whales with adaptive charging or whatever, whatever Apple calls it. That's only I can think of being a downside to that.
Yeah.
But
my question is, and this is something I'll ask you, Tina, it's like, when was the last time you dropped your phone in any significant amount of water? Like
me personally,
a hot tub, a bathtub, a lake, a river, a pool, whatever. Zero. You've never done that. I've never done.
He doesn't shower.
No, well, it's only
once every 3 months.
It's on Tuesdays. So, but I'm just saying. But maybe if you're in the rain or like a downpour. But really, if you have an IP54, an IP67 rating, you could probably be okay. And most people, I don't know about you, but have you ever seen a downpour? Do you see anybody actively like on their phone in a downpour? They're not going to stand in the fucking rain and get rained on. And
I would tell you, Saturday morning, I went for a walk with my dog, and it was raining about 20 minutes before that. And I'm like, I got a mile away from my house, and it torrentially downpoured. I'm not kidding. I had my Samsung watch on and my Honor 5 in my pocket, and I didn't even worry about. Obviously, it's IP68.
Right.
But I got home and I was dripping, and nothing was messed up.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, the problem is if you get water on your screen, it's not responsive really anyway. Regardless of the IP rating, if you got a lot of water there, you're not going to get. I mean, it doesn't.
But the phone was wet because I was soaking wet.
Yeah, and
but
so I mean, that's
how often does that happen?
So yeah, it's again very rarely. Again, if you drop it, if you're in a beach area, or if you go to a pool lot, maybe that occurs. But I mean, the water participation is fine, but I don't know. I think it's a little overrated as far as like what people actually have use cases for as far as protection. That's all.
So, Bonnie, I know you're our resident Apple fan, so I was going to ask you, do you think Apple's going to have the replaceable battery, or is this just going to be Apple tweaking that rule?
Well, I feel like the adhesive is going to be a little bit more probably easier to remove, and the glass back is going to, obviously they're going to keep the glass back. They won't, switch it, like you just pop it out, and they're going to make the adhesive, like Samsung, their old phones, pulling that battery with that hard glue was like a nightmare. So maybe the glue is going to be more friendly to pull out and then replace, and then they'll give you a tool to, bring that IP rating back. That's probably what. And I guess I'm looking at Twitter, I'm guessing some people are not understanding that. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
They're not going to force you to go all plastic phone again. They just want the battery. If someone wants to keep their phone for as long as they want, that's fine. They just want the battery, 1, 2, 3 works again. Yeah. Glue it back.
But I want the kind of battery replacement that when you used to stick your fingernail in a little area, pop it up, and it'd kill your finger taking the back off. That's what I want.
OGG4.
I have that phone in my other room.
And my argument would be is iPhone users traditionally carry their phones longer than most.
They do.
3 to 4 to 5 years. You would think that it would be a natural ally, right? They would actually they would appreciate, that Android users don't really care about like battery health. They don't think about it because they're switching phones more frequently. Whereas an iPhone users, they see 94% battery health, 88% battery health.
My phone is garbage.
Right. They can, instead of like going into an Apple store and getting a replacement, you could just replace it on the fly and just pay for it. I don't know.
Velcro.
I would think that maybe it could land a little better for Apple users. Maybe.
I did get a new phone as well. I did get a new phone a few days ago.
What's that?
The iPhone
14.
14. That's right.
Just a standard 14. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
The 14 Pro and Pro Max really didn't I liked the dynamic island, but they're just too big for my hands. The 14 was perfect to hold. It wasn't too big like a tablet. Say that.
Well, just getting back to the battery thing for a second. So I'm just reading a little bit more about this. So the rule is, according to the EU, that the battery in a smartphone must be removable and replaceable by the end user. So they're talking about the consumer. They're not talking about going to an Apple store and getting the battery replaced.
And what consumers are going to heat up the back, even if it's a light glue, it's going to take that back off. No one.
Yeah. You're going to get a lot more. You're going to get a lot more e-waste from this, because as soon as people go, oh, my battery's fucked in the garbage,
throw it out.
Yeah, they're going to throw it out.
And most people, they don't know where to properly recycle it, and most people just store it in their home or something, which can
Exactly.
also, if it somehow, the heat, the humidity can cause that thing to expand, it's gonna catch a fire. It's gonna be a fire risk.
Well, if you got a fire
Yeah.
pit in your backyard, it's a great way to start it.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
I
it's a great way to
have
start
one.
it.
Yeah.
Although I would make an argument, this is an EU specific mandate, so that only
Yeah.
has to exist inside the EU zone, right?
Yeah.
So I would argue that people in the EU have a little bit better understanding of recycling because
Right.
they're a
Yeah,
lot more.
probably.
So
Yeah.
again, and you will have, and I think the USB-C, I think Apple's probably willing to bend the knee on that standard just because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
Their
on the
iPads
battery
have 'em.
standard, they're not. They will sell literally devices for the EU zone, and that is
Yeah.
all they will do.
Well, look what they did with the
Yeah.
SIM. In the
Oh,
US,
yeah.
we have eSIM only, but in Canada, everywhere else, you have a SIM card.
That's probably true. They're gonna make a
Sorry.
separate.
Yeah.
They'll
uh-huh.
have a separate
Separate
SKU, and it'll
phone.
be EU only,
Right.
and that'll be it. They'll have to comply with the EU. Like I said, they will eventually go to USB as a standard across all SKUs. I will
Yeah.
argue that this engineering challenge for battery is really a pain in the ass, and so they're just going to say, okay, we will make devices for the EU, and we'll tell people in the EU, okay, well, and this is what I would do if I were Apple. Okay, EU, you can go fuck yourself. So everybody in the EU who's got an iPhone, you're going to get a degraded experience, right? You're going to get a plastic back that's removable. You're going to lose the IP rating. If you don't like it, then you need to contact your legislator, overlords, whoever the fuck runs the EU zone. I don't know who it is, a commissioner, and say, hey, and tell them, hey, then what people do is they'll import, they will import other devices globally
Yes.
Exactly.
into the zone. So, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a way around that. Like I said, never get on the a dedicated customer's ability to end around a government regulation if needed.
Because I know most people will like the idea, but some who are not, I'll say this, they don't know probably how to remove it, and they might mess up. So they want to go somewhere who knows how to fix that, like a store, like one of those stores that they will remove the battery for you and replace it.
Oh, I know. That's why, Dan, I said overlords, because I don't know who runs the EU. I know it's definitely not a regular democracy like any. They got their own thing going on. I find it. I will give the EU credit though. They will talk the talk. If they say they're going to do a regulation, they will put. They will put that, and they're putting a hammer on places like Apple, because if you leave it up to the American, legislators, they'll just go, oh, okay, well, I mean, have you seen them in an actual hearing?
What's USB?
They don't even know how an internet works.
Battery.
So you think they're going to hold Apple to task? I doubt it. At least the EU's putting these people to the fire. So at least it's, there can be an argument. At least they're trying to drive some change, at least in their Eurozone. So that's okay.
Well, just to segue into a different tech subject here for a second. So, Sam, I know is it you that was saying you're a big fan of the movie Ready Player One?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. The book's great, too.
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw this article this week, but you remember in the movie when he wins some coin, quote unquote, he gets that AR haptic suit.
Yeah.
Right.
Which enhances the
this.
experience. So the game Assassin's Creed has released a version of their own haptic suit. So up on screen now here, I don't know if you can see that, Sam, but this is the OWO haptic gaming system, in particular connected to the Assassin's Creed Mirage game. And essentially what it's promising is exclusive sensations never felt before, which I find that terminology very funny. Is this the beginning of the Ready Player One revolution? Are we going to see wearable clothing that enhances the experience of the game? Is this the beginning?
Maybe in 50 years, but not now.
Okay.
I mean, and there's a really good book. It's an audiobook, and it's talking about these kind of things, right? Where technology, they were talking about Segways, how Segway was going to revolutionize mobile personal transportation, and it went nowhere, right? And so, again, it's like, well, how much is this OWO, right, suit?
Yeah.
It's like $1,000,
$560.
Nobody's buying that. No.
So.
I mean, now maybe gamers might, and like, but I mean, what my question is it going to, if you get stabbed, is it going to give you a sensation of like discomfort or
There
pain?
you go. Let me read you
It sounds like, from what I read, it's not much. It's very little vibration, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So it says here that the shirt includes haptic points on your chest, stomach, lower back, and arms.
Oh, that's more
the
than I
trick
thought.
is an algorithm that adjusts 9 wave parameters to simulate interactions ranging from a wind to a dagger. And basically, you calibrate the sensations with an app or something that's here. But essentially, they're saying that you might be able to feel the sensation somewhat of a dagger or the wind blowing. I don't know what that means exactly. I see a bunch of creepy people wrapping this t-shirt around different parts of their body and turning it on. But, you know...
Yeah, their knees, elbows.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I hook
Yeah.
this into my OnlyFans account? I can't.
Yeah.
I don't.
So-
I mean, man, why not? What the hell, right? I just don't think commercially it's going to be a thing. I mean, maybe. Like, remember the Power Glove? Yeah, that never happened, right?
That was the
That's
greatest
going
thing ever
better.
invented. That was the best thing ever.
Do you remember Sony's attempt at one of these back in 2017? I believe. Right here. It was called the Synthesia suit.
Holy shit!
What is that?
What are you
Synthesia
doing?
suit.
Are you jumping out of an air? I mean, is this guy 82nd Airborne? What the fuck is all that? I mean, it's
So
like
this
that's
was-
a full like jump.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You said Sega, right?
No,
No, this
Sony.
is Sony.
Sony. Okay. I was like,
Yeah.
there was no Sega anything in
Dude, look at that!
2017.
I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell
It's
are you doing?
amazing.
I mean, he looks like he's ready to jump out of an AC-1, like an AC-130. I mean,
And it takes you 4 hours to get into the suit.
right,
And it only lasts
okay.
25
I don't know if there's
minutes.
any more pictures. No, there's not.
Oh.
So this was meant to be connected to a first-person shooting game they had in PlayStation VR called Res Infinite. So basically, you were going to strap on the headset that Sony made, the Synthesia suit, which I believe is the fucking greatest name ever for a product.
Synthesia is pretty cool.
Synthesia is beautiful. And essentially, it's meant to give you like a 360-degree space trying to find all the enemies, and it's meant to vibrate and sync up with the music and enemy ships exploding. The Synthesia suit from Sony, 2017.
Yeah. Well, again, like I said, and here's the problem is, and this is another thing the book I'm reading talks about, is that a lot of people have a issue with VR that makes them nauseous, right? Because your brain has to have actual physical responses and inputs, and the VR is so disconcerting for them, it makes them nauseate, and that's a lot of people. So, I mean, like, whatever. I mean, I sure as hell wearing that big ass thing. I mean, honestly, when I like to play games, I like to like chill, have a sandwich, right? Maybe finger foods. Like, I'm not buying that, but I mean, it's cool to talk about. But maybe, in the future, Ready Player One is, I think, a thing. I mean, they're talking about, virtual AR, neural interfaces, all that shit. I think in maybe not our lifetime, but maybe in other people's lifetimes, this becomes. You need a team of 15 people.
A team of 15 people. They have a concierge service that comes to your house.
Right, Taylor Swift comes to your house and she's doing all this shit, right? It's like, it's okay. I mean,
so for the people who are listening to this after, you probably can't see this, but it's just a clip of the Synthesia suit. But it literally takes like 6 people to put this fucking thing on.
What kind of game was this again? It looks like
it was a space game called Res Infinite.
Let's keep playing that.
So wait a minute. Wait, you have that, but then he's wearing all that gear, but he's got a regular controller? That's weird. I thought there would be like a hand interface or like, you know what I mean? I mean,
I remember with the Sony VR, it had those weird like ice cream cone things that kind of.
Well, I guess it's got they got something now. You know what it is? This looks like a 3D version of. Does anybody remember the game Lumines? I remember that.
Yes.
Game.
Yeah, I
love that game. This kind of has like
I'm gonna be honest with you. Looking at the footage of this game, it looks like shit. I would hate to fucking play this.
Well, this is also probably PS4 too, right? This isn't the PS5.
And here's the funny thing is, this is 2017. This is only 6 years ago.
I know, yeah. So, I mean, look,
sure.
Synthesia suit was.
I love the name. They need to bring that and launch that into something else. Because Synthesia is cool. Can
we call our podcast the Synthesia podcast? Because I'm
pretty sure it's trademarked. We would get in trouble.
Well, Darren will pay for it. He's got it.
Yeah, Brought to you by Sony.
Brought to you by Sony.
The only thing I wish Sony had was the PlayStation View. I remember using their streaming service. Oh man, I loved it. I had it all
That was
the way
the best
until they
one.
canceled it. I loved it. I really did.
Yeah.
Although if it was still around, it probably cost $150 a month, like everything else.
Well, yeah, but it's it's whatever. I think it's okay. Like I said, I wouldn't personally buy it in that OVO or OXO suit. It's kind of cool, but man, even at $500, I don't know. I'm not ready to that level of immersive gaming just yet.
Yeah,
it really has to be the proper platform, the proper game.
Listen,
for that kind of thing.
I'm not going to buy it unless there's pants. If it's just a shirt, I'm not in. I need the pants.
You don't even want pants. You just want a girdle. You just want like the middle end. You don't even need anything for your legs.
I want
kneecaps.
socks. I want gloves. I want pants. I want a shirt. Fuck, I want a hat. Right?
Yeah.
I had to do it.
That was good. In other news, I know Sam, Tuna, you guys are into cars. So I don't know if you heard about Tesla has officially produced their first Cybertruck. The first one has come off the line. They are a thing now. So basically, I think this was just earlier this week, yesterday, in fact. First Cybertruck truck built in Texas, come off the production line. Basically, expected delivery is third quarter of this year. So we might actually start to see these ugly tin can looking Cybertrucks on our roads.
To each their own. To each their own. I would never buy one. I haven't been sold.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sold on the EV trucks with the F-150 Lightning. It seems like the best bet because it seems like a standard F-150. If you're used to it, you can jump into it and kind of understand it. But it just doesn't do anything. I mean, you tow when you lose half your, not even more than half. So if Tesla has figured out how to change that, which I'm pretty sure they haven't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe their battery tech's better than everyone else's. Then it's different. But right now, if you're unless you're just someone living in the city, putting some mulch in the back. I mean, I guess that's not a bad idea. But if you're paying, how much is this thing going to cost? $100,000 to pull some mulch? I mean, come on. I could put that in my back of my Honda Accord if I really wanted to.
So the three motor model comes in at $70,000 US.
It won't start at that price. I just went to a dealership here in town, and a used Ford F-150 Lightning is $84,000.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
they'll have what they call dealership adjustments or whatever. So
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think we're gonna. I couldn't afford one. That's for sure. $70,000, but
I wouldn't drive. Well, first of all, you can't tow anything with the truck, and then here's the thing: nowadays with trucks, and I know this is to accept all the truck people listening or watching. Most people who buy a truck are the same reason they buy an SUV. They aren't doing anything they're not towing a camper. They're not throwing mulch in the back. They're driving it because it's a large vehicle and Americans love SUVs. Why do you think Ford, the Blue Oval in 2024 is no longer selling cars?
Yeah.
They're selling trucks and SUVs. The only vehicle that they're selling that isn't a truck is the Mustang. And I would argue the S650 is the last generation of the Mustang. You watch. Yeah. They'll make about 5 or 7 years of that, not sell it, and then they'll get rid of the Mustang line. Then after 65 years, they'll cancel it. Ford is not selling the Fusion, the Fiesta, the Focus, or any sedan.
Right. Yeah. I saw somewhere today, though, they're going to introduce is it the Fiesta? They're thinking about reintroducing the Fiesta as an EV so they can compete at a low level. Like a real cheap level.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, and here's the thing. So people who are buying the Cybertruck, and then like the Ford F1 Lightning, I think the towing range is 80 miles.
Yeah, it's not perfect.
Well, what if you're if you're towing like a camper, you're not, I mean, unless you're driving, even 80 miles is barely outside the city of St. Louis in like a sort of rural area. If you're trying to drive across the state of Missouri, which is just one state, you're not going to make it in 2 charges.
Could you imagine a new Halloween movie coming out where they take an F-150 Lightning with an RV to like Camp Crystal Lake, and they're trying to outrun Michael Myers, and they go like 8 feet and it just dies. You got to put it in there.
And
You mean
That's a
honestly,
great idea.
I think the Cybertruck is the fuggliest fucking thing I've ever
Oh,
seen.
me too.
I'm sorry.
Oh, me too.
If you buy that, you're
What's
whatever.
the range? What's the gas mileage on that fucking tin can? Because there's no way that's aerodynamic. It's
Well, first of
too
all,
boxy.
there is no
It's too
gas
heavy.
mileage. There is no gas.
Yes.
Oh,
The
sorry.
range-
Kilowatts.
Yeah.
I
Range,
don't know, maybe 250 miles. But again, if you're going to use it like with weight, right? If you're going to put weight in the back, or you're going to tow something, you have to understand it's going to have a degraded range, right? It just will.
Can we all
Well, it's
agree
not
right now?
Too. The Hummer, that Hummer EV is like 10,000 pounds.
First
It's
of all,
ridiculous.
Hummers are trash. Those
Yeah.
things are fucking garbage vehicles,
Yeah.
right? But
I've heard bad things. Yeah.
But I'm just saying. But I mean, I think they're ugly. I mean, here's the thing. If you want to buy a Cyber, I've seen a couple Rivians on the road here in the St. Louis area. I think they're fucking ugly too. I'm sorry. The front end
They're
looks
different.
ridiculous. They're just goofy looking. I mean, whatever. Again, but I mean, everybody I see driving a Rivian, you think there's going to be like some good old boy who's going to put a bunch of people in the back, right? They're going to have a bunch of
It's a
bush light
hipster.
and shit. That's
Guaranteed
not happening.
hipster.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a flex. It's because
Yeah.
rich people can afford it. What's a Rivian? Like 120, 30, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
fucking
they're
if I
cheap.
know. Whatever.
I mean, we
Fine.
would love to be sponsored by Rivian. I mean, we have 3 people who are of age, I imagine, to drive here.
Yeah.
Here's my
Shit.
thing, and I know Sam might think differently. I love my gas vehicles, but I'm not against EVs either.
No.
I'm just not sold at I wouldn't mind going out and buying like not the Chevy Volt because those things are junk, but a small sedan because I drive
Listen,
15
Leaf-
miles not a Leaf, it's too small. Like if they had a Honda Accord size, like
I've
the
seen,
Tesla
I've
S
seen
or
the
something.
Hyundai Ioniq. Now
Yeah,
that's
those are
a
cool.
stunning
Yeah,
car.
$60,000. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
That's what I'm saying. The barrier of entry is too high at this point. And
Yeah.
like I said, for me, I don't live 15 miles to I live 47 miles from my place of work.
Yeah.
So I have to factor that in. Also, people don't realize that in colder weather, in
Mhm.
environments where it's super cold, like in Toronto, where it's
Canada.
90 below, in Canada, I had a Prius and I never got 50 miles a gallon when it was cold. I got like 46, 44, 43, right? And I would drive the same way, but battery capacity in cold weather is not the same. Your results will change if you're driving in colder climates. And a lot of people, unless they're living in Florida or Arizona, if you live in anywhere else like Missouri or Canada or in Ohio, there's winter, right? It gets cold.
Yeah.
It's 5 below. It's
The
6
only
below.
thing I ask was that with EVs, I know they're starting to work out these LCD screen license plates.
Yes.
We need to keep the metal ones because here in the prison where I'm at right now, I make those and I need to have an income.
That's true. This is true.
So
You
we
just have to
let's-
make LCDs too. You need to get with the program.
You
I
got to
don't
get
know.
some fucking engineering degree.
Well,
there.
who gives a shit in Missouri? No,
It's true.
Yeah.
Because in Missouri, they allow people to get their plates at the time
Yeah.
they register the car. So you'll see millions of cars, hundreds of. The state of Missouri's lost $60 million in people not registering their vehicles. I see tags, temp tags are like 2 and 3 years old. They're not. So now Missouri's going to change the law that you have to pay a sales tax at the time of sale.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta ask a quick question. It's off the tech thing, but customized license plates. I know they're expensive. This is where I live. They cost a hell of a lot more.
I got
And
one.
I did it one time, and when I did it, they were like, fill out this form. I said, okay. And I said, we have to wait for approval. I said, why? He goes, we want to make sure it's not vulgar or
Yeah.
and I had to explain what it meant.
Yeah.
Because it had 2NA in it. They're like, what the hell
Yeah.
does that mean? I'm
Right.
like, tuna.
No, I
What's
did- I
tuna
just
all
did
about?
mine-
I'm like, oh Jesus.
I just did mine online, tuna, and I get 20 miles. So Ventimiglia, right? 20MYLS. And I had to write a little, like it was a box, free text field that says what, explain what the plate means. Because a lot of people, and then the funny thing, if you go to Missouri's website, the DOR, they'll have the plates that are rejected. They'll list them.
Oh, that's
wow.
cool.
There's like 500 last year. And it was like, fuck Joe, fuck Brandon, or you go, let's
Yeah.
go Brandon. They were all those. So they listed
Oh my
all the
God.
plates that the state of Missouri rejected.
I need to
for
see
whatever.
this. I want
It's like people of Walmart.com. Like you have to watch.
Yeah, so they posted it, and the funny thing is, they actually Missouri Department of Revenue posted that online, so they can see like, here's the plates that we basically said. No,
Well, here's the
shit.
problem. So I had a turbocharged vehicle at the time, so it was 2NA TRBO or something like that. And everyone's like, how do you have an NA car that's turbo? I'm like, oh my God, I'm done. So I went back to a standard license plate because
Yeah.
naturally aspirated and turbocharged are two different things. So it got too complicated. So
I've never had a personalized number plate, but I have immense trouble remembering my number plate because I never look at it.
Right, I don't either.
Never look at my number plate.
Yeah.
It's just one of those oblivious things, right? Where it's kind of thing. But
There you go. I try to post a link, but of course it's in 2 chats. But yeah, so
it's all good. I'll copy and paste it in. We got it.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say is, give me some examples, Sam, of ones that were.
So apparently, Crazy B didn't get in.
Yeah, makes sense.
Maybe meant Cardi B. That's what they meant.
Hell, HLL, nah, like hell, nah. That didn't make it.
Who the hell?
That one.
HTP, I don't know what that means, but then there's like, let's go, Brandon. Those always get shit canned. Proud Boys, those get shit canned.
Why the hell would you?
Because I'm denied. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's the plate, but I just did mine, and I got the which is cool because Missouri's got like a really kind of nice thing where you can go online, you can check not only if the plate's available, but you can actually show the image, right? So I get the 911 commemorative plates because my daughter's got plates and it's 20MYLZ. I got 20MYLS. And so we get the same kind of plates. So but yeah, you're right. You got to wait 6 to 8 weeks to get them, and then it has to be approved. They have to approve.
Well, see, since I make them here in prison, I see them all. So I already know. Yeah.
Tuna's like, tuna dick. Yes. I'm in.
They probably thought you didn't know how to
spell, right?
Hey, when I was in college, I was doing programming, HTML, like the basic Java stuff, and I had to make a website, and I was like, I was not being creative at all. So I was living in a dorm, so I was snapping pictures and just putting them on like Facebook or Twitter right now.
Yeah.
And then I actually had a Jason Hate Club. That's my real name. And I actually had people. Me and my buddy would go around with a camera. We'd say, "Hey, do you hate me?" And like, we don't know you. I didn't ask you that. I said, "Do you hate me?" If they said yes, we took their picture. And I wish I would have downloaded. This is probably 20 years ago. I wish I would have downloaded because after a while, the college just kind of clears their servers out. But I would love to keep that. So
here you go. Actually, you know what? Darren, I did you one better. I did a little digging while we're talking, and there's an actual spreadsheet. Right there.
A Google spreadsheet.
There you go. There's murder.
I will have a look at that.
Murder.
Yeah. Oh, skeet. That's good.
Yeah.
There's a.
I got ideas now.
There's an Excel spreadsheet, and it's got. I think it's 100. Like 500.
Oh, I love this.
It's like 472 rows. FNK rad. Bad bitch, BAT. Oh, dude. Love Missouri.
Oh my God,
coming up with all the shit.
That's not just Missouri. If Ohio had access to that, they'd have just as bad ones too.
Well, I love it because Missouri posts this online. This is from the Missouri DOR.
Now I know in Ohio you can actually type in what you want to see if it's available, but you actually have
but anyways, if anybody wants to go to that docs, that's a Google Doc. That's an actual.
I'll leave it up on screen there.
Oh my God. I don't know how we got off topic of this, but that is hilarious.
I love it.
Murder. Why would you put murder?
MILFs. M1LFS. Yes.
Yes.
Totally. See, you are gay. Nice.
Oh my God.
XXX whip. Okay. That's cool.
But going back to
red rum on there.
Huh?
Is red rum on there?
Red rum.
I don't know, but
I think there's gonna be a search.
But there could be multiple reasons for that. Like red rum, maybe you enjoy red rum, or Proud Boys. Maybe you're just a proud boy. You're not part of that group.
Come hard, CUMHRD. Oh, you're so good.
So my dad has He's a big Mustang guy, and I'm not gonna say much about it, but he had a license plate that was like, it was his initials, and it said Tang, TANG.
Oh, yeah.
And it was by Tang. His initials are BI. So we gave him a hard time. Like, you realize it doesn't make sense. It doesn't sound right. So he literally like the next day went out and made it MI Tang.
I love it.
So,
it was pretty good.
Interesting, but Missouri is funny. So this is the entire spreadsheet of all the. Well, I don't know if these are all the, but it shows application date. So application date is 2022. So this is from the Missouri DOR for the entirety of 2023. These are all the places that they rejected.
I like Skeet. Skeet. That's a good one.
Gulag. Apparently, that's not a bad. Fart with 2 R's. Okay. Apparently that's
okay. So I just did a quick Google search here for Ontario. So there are a similar. Well, it's actually a news article, believe it or not. So the most the ones that were the, I guess, worst offenders that were banned. So you had WTF, Are You Dumb, Bye Bitch, again with a BXTCH, Damn, which I think is amazing, but banned. Fox Sakes.
Well, I would think they would have some stuff
like
about Trudeau, right? Like Trudeau sucks or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you had Heckin. I don't know what that means. HECKIN. If I could, sure.
Heckin.
And then
Sure.
The other one was What a Fuck. So WADDAFAK, which I think is very hilarious. And
so I guess in Ontario, do you get 7 digits on a plate? I guess you do.
yes. So there are
in Missouri it's
7.
6.
Right.
Oh, you only get 6 in Missouri. We get
only,
7.
Only 6. Yeah. In Illinois gets 7, I guess, and in Missouri gets 6. So yeah.
There was these.
It's like
ones,
a Twitter. It's like a Twitter thing. You only so many characters. They need to expand it.
Well, here's the thing: if I had a Cybertruck, you know what I would get? FUKTRK. Fuck truck. That's what I would get.
Well, listen to
well,
this.
it would be. That would be on that list here soon.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not even joking. I'm going to put this on screen so you guys know I'm not shitting you when I put this up. You know how we just mentioned red rum?
Yep.
I'm going to put this up
Ontario
on screen.
Only in Canada.
Look, I'm going to zoom in a little here so you can see what I'm looking at. But if you
Fuck.
look right
Fox sake, that's good.
Right here, where I'm highlighting. Sorry,
red
right
rum. I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, a bunch of them. Red X rum. Oh,
so I don't know if you can see that at home, but violent
Greta,
plates.
like Greta Thunberg. Is that what that is? Greta Thunberg.
Yeah,
Oh,
Greta. I think that's fucking great. I love that
that's
one.
great.
So wait, I'm looking at this article. It says there's plates that are hard to read, like Just Sold, Kobe,
Yep, Kobe.
Mr. Fresh. How is that hard to read? I'm reading them just sorry.
Well, I will tell you one time. I know a buddy. It
Wakanda?
wasn't him. It was a lady he worked with. She got her husband's car, and the plate was his.
Oh man,
no.
Gangster.
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't a good, nice. I hope it was a nice car.
It was a Porsche. Yeah.
Oh.
Dude, the plate was his. Oh, dude, that's fucking gangster. Oh man,
that's pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie.
Damn, I don't know what's wrong with damn. I don't. Think
I don't mind either. Like, I mean, like just the Kobe. The old school, I think, is a really good one. I would probably get
what's
that myself.
OHO Popo? Like Oho Popo? Like police?
Yeah,
I guess Popo?
Yeah, I guess a reference to the police here in Ontario.
Well, like what's hard to read? Sorry with 3 R's? That's hard to read?
I can't read it.
It is. I think it's the
Wakanda?
R's.
That's not hard to read. It's easy.
I think with sorry, I think it's too many R's. Like the cops have to count them up, right? So it's like, oh shit. One,
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
we got sorry. It's 2 or 3 R's.
Yeah. Oscar Robert Young.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Wakanda.
I love it, but apparently it's a thing. It's a real thing.
I just like the fact that Missouri gives you a spreadsheet of all the ones that you rejected.
What's even funnier is this is a tech podcast we're talking about.
Yes, about number plates. Yes, it's all part of it. I think it started.
And I get. And here's the thing: I'm all electrical vehicles. I'm like 2 now. I'm all electrical vehicles, but it has to be practical. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, and I will tell you, if you've driven from like Ohio across state, like if you're driving to like Chicago or something. Do yourself a favor. If you're driving United States, right, and you're driving across the, like distances, look how many Teslas you see.
Yeah.
You won't.
No.
Right? They aren't made to be driving 300 miles. You can't drive because you got to plug them in. If battery technology is, I don't even care about the range, but it has to charge within 5 minutes. It has to.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, then I don't want to, I'm not dealing with it.
Well, and that's why I said I'm buying it for my commute back and forth to work only.
Yeah,
I mean, picking my kids up here and there, but like if I'm going cross country,
you can't.
I mean, right now it's just hard because there's a lot of areas, a lot of congested, like big cities have those charging areas all over the place. But everywhere else, like where I live,
right? I mean,
they're like,
do yourself a favor, Tuna. Drive through Kansas and Oklahoma. Good luck, man. And you may, if you find a charger, it won't be a fast one. It'll be some slow, 240. You might be there for 45 minutes just to get half the damn battery capacity. It's just not practical for everybody, right? At some point, it may be, not now. Just not now.
I agree.
Sounds good to me. When we talk, I know we've been talking about a whole bunch of different things here. Do we want to just spend the last few minutes here talking about that horrible folding phone that was released this week.
What, your punk ass fold that you're all like googly, like you're all like
not googly about. So I'm not googly about it at
Which
all.
fold
you
talking
but
about?
you put your main SIM in it. So like let's
So-
discuss, like what's that about?
So okay, so I have my main SIM in the Google Pixel Fold. So I had to fight to get my hands on it here in Canada because Google decided to not release it here. So a couple of observations. So just a couple of things that I'll say.
You
What did you
have to fight.
Yeah, how's that? Stop! You stop!
Look over there. What?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. That's pretty much how I got my hands on it.
Just running through the mall.
Yes. What the hell is that?
Throw it to your wife. Drive, bitch. Drive.
Just go. So a couple of quick, I know I mentioned this on Twitter, but there's a couple of little things that caught my attention immediately. So weight. So I've got this in a case right now, and I'll talk about the reason for that. But I mean, most people have cases, so that kind of makes sense. But it is heavy. Like I think it's 280 grams. Off the top of my head.
280 grams.
So
It's
like, are you getting
something like that.
big biceps when you like?
So
pick it
yeah,
up
I mean,
and-
you can see it's just
I mean, what's like the Fold 4? What's gram? It's like
let me
235.
get the exact. So
I don't even
I'll
have
get
it on
the
me
exact
right now.
number.
But see, for me, I always associate heavy phones with. I know it's not always true, but like
283 grams.
it feels like a quality phone. Like usually, like if it's dense and it feels good in the hand, it feels like it's well built. That's not always true. I get it, but that's how I would associate a heavier phone. Because
well, I mean, for context, it's 43 grams heavier than the iPhone 14 Pro Max.
well, it's double the screen too. It doesn't
does,
it makes
yeah.
sense.
So-
Well, my question is, compared to the Fold 4, what's the Fold 4 as far as gram?
So the Fold 4 was
I would have said like 240 and some change. I don't know if that's
263. So
damn
20
280.
grams.
280 sounds heavy, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I was shocked at that. I don't know, maybe because it's smaller and it's that 4:3 kind of aspect ratio. I kind of went, fuck, like this is actually much heavier than I expected. Now, heavier doesn't mean worse. It doesn't mean it's a fucking bad phone. You shouldn't buy it.
Right.
Like Tuna said, it does feel very premium. That inner screen, is really nice, and you have a beautiful layout there. You can have all your apps, your calendar.
What does Flossie Carter always say? Feels so good in the hand.
It does.
Ladies,
it does
other
feel good in the
procedures.
hand. Now, speaking of feeling in the hand,
So I had the only other folding phone I have that was close, Darren, was the Oppo Find N2.
yeah.
And that one was 233.
Wow. so
Wow,
50
that was pretty
grams
light
heavier.
compared to this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a full 50 grams heavier. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It might have been not the Find 2. I think it was just the Find N.
Do you
That
think
was
it's
the one I got from
because?
GG.
Do you think it's because the way they made the hinge and they put all that weight on the outside? That's part of it. I don't know. I mean, the battery's big too. It's one of the bigger batteries in that
I think
respect,
it's
too.
probably the battery. But one other thing also, just talking about the build. So I mentioned this to you guys, or it might have been in our Telegram, but I had to put a case on it. Even when I got it, the curved sides of the Fold make it very difficult to open with just your fingers. And I don't know if that's maybe just me, but it's very, very thin and very curved on the outer edge of the phone. So what I had to do is, you can see here, when you have the case on, it actually gives you something to latch onto. So
Right.
I know with the the Fold 4, it has kind of flatter sides, which gives you a little bit more of a thumb to flip open. But with this one, I had a lot of trouble getting it open.
And no one
and
has mentioned that. No one has
No one
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Now, are you trying to open it one-handed or two-handed?
Two-handed, so like a book. So
That's how I was.
like that classic, like that. But the curved, the thinness and the curved sides does not make it the easiest thing in the world to open.
Right.
But having said that, putting a case on it fixed that problem straight away. Like, that wasn't even an issue anymore.
Well, and I'm going to put a case on mine anyways. I'm a case guy, but I don't get one of those real thick cases. But I think a case is
the
needed
only
for.
reason I got this one is because the Bellroy leather case, and someone else mentioned this on Twitter, it's very form-fitting, which is beautiful, but the front cover seems to slip. So every time you open the device, the front cover along this edge here is lifting up.
Yeah, you're gonna get that. Like I said, I've had a Fold 4, and and I had the same problem with the little the frame, right? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, this
What do you
is the
mean? What's
Duo.
pop? I'm confused. What are you saying is popping
What?
up?
So the front screen
So on
has
this-
like it would have like
I
a
don't know if you can
little
see that.
frame, but it just kind of attaches because there's nothing for it to wrap around, right? There's no back end of it. It has to stick on the front.
Oh, okay.
And it's like and when I had that find in,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, Tuna? It had that like frame on the front of it. It just
Right.
kind of stuck to it.
Yes.
And there's an adhesive there because it can't
That's what I'm
wrap
talking
to
about.
the back end.
Yeah.
So the
like a
Bellroy
case
does not
because
have
you can't open
adhesive.
it.
Does the
Right,
Bellroy not have adhesive?
The Bellroy does not have adhesive, or the adhesive that it does
That's
have
what-
is not great.
Weak.
There was something sticky there, but not nearly
So
enough.
this is that razor, and I bought some
Oh.
cheap case off Amazon, and
And it works
I'll notice
perfectly.
I pull it out, and it just kind of, as you can see, it kind
Right,
of just
slides.
falls off the day. It just
Well,
starts
my
sliding
question
down.
is, man, are you
Yeah.
like that razor?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. So I'm more of a fold than a flip, and I've had to flip.
It's funny.
three-
You and Darren should trade.
Yeah, we should
phones.
just
Right,
trade here.
right. So
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I've had the flip 3 and the flip 4, and
Yeah.
I returned them. I didn't like them, but the front screen on this has been the best, but it's still a tiny ass screen. So
Yeah.
it's more usable. But my fear is that it's a screen that you're bending, you're folding. I don't care if it's teardrop or whatever. It's
Yeah.
gonna break. I know, but it's gonna break eventually. And I know the flip.
Here's the thing is, if you can't tell, but if you notice, like if you can see, like right there, it's starting. It's starting
Yes.
to peel.
Right.
That's
and
just
that- and
the
that-
screen protector. It's not
Right.
the
Yeah.
screen. And
So-
I let it. They just said just let it kind of naturally, kind of maybe halfway bubble, and then you can kind of peel it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I get you, but I mean,
That's
I
why I
don't-
like the folding phones, because I can use, especially the fold. That's why the Pixel Fold was so important to me. That the Oppo N2 is great, but it's not here in the United States. I want to
And
be able to use
Darren-
that screen.
And Darren, my question to you is, only because it's new, have you opened up the main display, the open display, more?
Yeah.
Will you be doing
okay.
that? If you think about it, like as you think about it, like
Okay.
in 2 months, will I be opening this up as much as I am now because it's not novel anymore?
And that's what you
So
paid
I'm
for.
gonna be honest with you here right now.
Uh-oh.
I think they made a mistake making the front display as good as it is. Yeah, you're right.
That
It's
is I made that comment 2 months ago. And people called me
interesting.
crazy. I said, you made the front display so fucking good, you won't
Yeah.
need to open it up.
So the only caveat is that I'm finding that the brightness on the outer display is not as good as the brightness on the inner display. So the inner display seems to be just a touch brighter. Now that may not matter to most people, but in like bright sunlight, the outer display
it
is
matters.
good. But I almost, like, if I was going to write a review about this today, it would probably the way that I would phrase it is that I think a lot of people are not going to use the inner display. I think they're gonna use the outer display. It's too good. It's perfectly sized. It's 5.9 inches, which I would argue is probably right in that sweet spot for a good cell phone.
Did you have the Fold 3 or Fold 4, Darren?
I had the Fold 4 and
So,
the Fold 3 as well.
I have unique use cases for the fold part, opening it up. The front is very narrow, and it's great for Twitter or if you're scrolling social media, but it's very narrow. I always open mine for books, which I don't read books on a tablet very often, but gaming, it just makes it. And then I don't game a whole lot. There's a handful of games that I play that that's my other fear with that thing. It's going to be a panini press and burn up if I start playing any light gaming on it. Now you said you didn't have any of those issues.
I have had not a single issue when it comes to heat. It got a little bit hot during setup, but that was because it was downloading like 80, 90 apps at one time.
Correct.
My data. One thing that is slightly annoying is this bullshit. So they have not, even if you rotate it, they have not figured out how to. I mean, I know this is an Instagram, Facebook versus Google kind of thing, but there's no way to scale the apps to full screen, no matter which way you do it. Now, this is Instagram, but like something like Facebook. So like with Facebook, if you turn it, it scales to full screen, right? Like that's the whole thing right there. It goes, when you turn it back this way, it'll go back to that letterbox kind of thing. Most apps are pretty good. Like, for example, here's Twitter. So if I go to Twitter, same deal, turn it, it'll go to full screen. So you can use most of your popular apps in full screen by just turning the device, which doesn't bother me at all. But you would think with a phone like this, which is meant to be, something like Instagram, they should find a way to kind of have, like Samsung did, a way to maximize the screen real estate and say, okay, yeah, see, yeah. So it does work on other devices, but it doesn't seem to work on this one.
Well, and I know you get the scene, right?
You get the scene, yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But, here's the thing is, but a lot of times, like when I'm using my device, when I turn my phone off and I'm using it, a lot of times on my Duo, I'll use it like this. I'll put it in my pocket back to back, and that way I just pick it up. And then when I have to use it, I'm right here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Fold has had more generations, obviously, and they've worked their butt off on the software. I think from what I've seen, it seems
slick. Yeah,
it seems like Samsung has much better, but Google has optimized all their apps to most, if not all. The one thing I don't understand is, and I don't know if you guys do YouTube Studio. It never works on a tablet or anything. I don't. Why the hell do they not make their YouTube Studio app work on anything? I've never understood that.
So I mean, there's like as far as the app is concerned, most of your main apps like Telegram works fine. It's that full screen. WhatsApp works fine. It's full
Gmail screen. Has a new open. The weather app has a new expanded view. Yeah.
Like the weather app is stunning, and Google did an amazing job with the weather app. So you can kind of see you got the forecast on one side.
But here's the thing: you do side by side only multitasking. And the Samsung can do 3, I think.
Yes.
Who the hell is doing 3 on a Pixel Fold or a Samsung Fold anyways? I've never have. I've done no more than 2.
The multiple windows and this aspect ratio is stunning. It's phenomenal when for doing this kind of stuff. Like you've got a great size side screen for one app and a great size side screen for another app. Oh, weird. One Cut Reviews came up. But one of the things
never heard of them.
I know. I like it. I could understand why some people wouldn't, though. And I know one of our previous guests on the show had just posted a video, I think today or yesterday, saying that he would be returning his, saying that it doesn't bring any more functionality than the.
Are you talking about Adam?
Adam there, yeah. And
he's returning. I didn't see that.
Yeah. More power to you. More power to you, Adam. I love you. You're the best, and I get it. I understand some of your reservations.
Yeah, but he made it very clear that it was mostly because of he already had a Fold 4.
Yes,
and he wants stylus support. And that's what his use case was, and so for him, the Fold made more sense. Wasn't knocking the Fold. It just didn't work for him, and he already had a Fold 4. So that was he made it very. I watched the video. He made a very clear caveat that it wasn't garbage, just wasn't for him.
For his use case,
Sam,
correct?
Because you're a Duo user, I'm actually willing to bet that they either copied or they borrowed the hinge from the Duo because it's literally exactly the same. And I've had a Duo here at our house before. The hinge is almost identical, and I find that very ironic because
tech companies do not copy each other. That's bullcrap.
I don't copy at all.
Never happened.
Microsoft leaked those hinge designs.
But think about it. Microsoft, Samsung, and Google, they have all worked pretty closely to get the foldables and dual screen to this point. It would not surprise me if one if not both the screens are made by Samsung anyways.
Here's another thing that they do is that engineers at Google and engineers at these companies, they actually take a Duo and they look at the hardware.
Yeah. Yep.
You can reverse engineer hardware very, very easily. And they looked and see how it actually articulates, how it bends, how it, and they come up with their design. Yeah.
A couple of final thoughts. The battery is not nearly as bad as people are saying. I've been using this since this morning, pretty heavily today. Maps, GPS, photographs, the whole lot. I'm at 43%.
Well, I think Jacqueline, I think she said that her battery life was pretty good on hers too. So I think
I've heard that a few times. Yeah.
The camera, I don't even see that photo. Is
the camera good?
The camera is very good. So that's a 5-time telephoto shot.
Yeah.
Which you won't get on any other foldable, if I'm correct, right?
Oh God, no.
At least not in the US.
I'll be honest with you. Like I said, it feels a bit like a fat Pixel 7, maybe a Pixel 7 Pro. The inner screen, I do wish it wasn't as reflective. It's a bit shiny, which kind of detracts a little bit from the brightness when you're outdoors. But
that was probably designed during COVID when everyone was inside anyways. They didn't care about the sun.
They didn't care about it, yeah. And I mean, things like the speakers surprise me. Like, they're very good, probably about 20 or 30% louder than the Pixel 7 Pro, which is decent. I mean, again, for you, Sam, to answer your question, I think I'm going to end up using the interior screen here for media consumption, watching YouTube, watching the TNT podcast replay, doing all that kind of stuff. I'm not a big gamer. I don't think I would be using it for games, but I think everyday stuff, outer screen is probably too good. I almost wish they made a 5.9-inch Pixel or Pixel Pro, because I think it would sell like hotcakes, a bit like the Asus Zenfone. But I don't know. I'm kind of still reserving my judgment a little bit. I want to give it a couple more days. If you're following me on Twitter, it's Darren, One Cut Reviews on Twitter. I'm going to post just a kind of a daily update for the next couple of days on things that I noticed and things that piss me off, things that I like. But generally speaking, guys, I don't think it's worth $17.99. $1,500 would have been the absolute cracking price for this, or $14.99, I guess, if you wanted to draw in more. But I also understand why it's a bit higher price, because, again, I don't think Google's trying to sell a ton of these. I think it's more proof of concept. And so far, I mean, overall, my experience has been very good. Nothing really to complain about. Just a couple of little kind of revisions needed when it comes to the next iteration, whatever that may be. Yeah. But yeah, no, so that's pretty much it. Again, I'll kind of update as we go, but
I'll look forward to our deal when you sell it to me here a little later. I appreciate that.
Yeah, 1,200, right? 1,200.
Of course.
Yes. All right. So on that note, we will wrap up tonight's show. Thank you very much, Sam Tuna, for joining us on our Sunday night shit show. I love the Sunday night shit shows because we talk about everything and everything. License plates, tech, you name it. But this Thursday, guys, we have our very special 20th edition of the TNT podcast. Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. We really hope you can join us. We would love to have you guys on there. Tuna is going to do something special on Thursday. He hasn't told me what yet. He was just thinking about it.
He's going to be naked.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Not that we're making a whole lot of money, but demonetization is a real thing.
Yes. We'll have to make sure that that's the explicit version of the TNT podcast when I upload it later on. But
so why don't we do our 20th show on OnlyFans?
That's good. That's a great idea.
Actually, make some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can be like this. And Tuna just be like,
only if Tuna wears nipple tassels. Otherwise,
there you go. Hello.
Wow.
There you go.
Always got to be me. Come on now.
Because nobody wants
to
say anything. So.
We'll leave you with that thought for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Like, subscribe, follow us, all these lovely people here on Twitter. Sam, thank you very much. Tuna, thank you very much. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
See you.